Welcome to Pull the Pin Already, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions about the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions.
We're going to love giving them to you.
I'm
Just
Jim.
like that. And I am Hugh.
Yeah, and you notice that's not Nate. So obviously we're going to be all
I'm not.
miscombobulated. Huh?
I'm not?
No, Nate's on another vacation or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Nate's
How do we get
traveling.
on that? How do we get on that? Like, I
You
mean,
got to work for the government, dude. Nate works for the government. Yeah.
I don't have the rectal capacity to continue working for the government.
Well, I guess that Nate, you have to take that up with Nate because, yeah, Nate works for the government. He gets to travel a lot. I guess he gets enough money and time off to go on vacations. So he's not going to be here for the week. So I guess this whole week you will be stuck with me, Mr. Hugh G. Erection.
Rection. Yes. Don't
Yes,
forget
got it.
the emphasis on the rec.
Yeah, and just bear with us because even you, because I don't know if Hugh is going to be the first word out of my mouth when I address you, but we'll do what we can. But for all of those that do not know what's going on, this is we don't call it war room anymore, but we kind of label it that anyways, where we pull from the mainstream media, we grab a bunch of headlines, and we talk about them from our perspective as average veterans. And this is the point where I would ask Nate, like, why is it important that we tell you from our perspective? And you probably have no idea what to say, so you can make it up if you want.
I mean, because clearly our perspective is better than everybody else's.
There you go. That's about what he says. Yeah, that's about
Yeah.
what he is. All right. So, anyways.
See, if two completely unrelated human beings are saying the same thing, it must be true.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I read it on Facebook.
Yes, and our opinions are the most accurate you can ever find anywhere in the
Right.
world because we are average veterans, right? We don't embellish because we're not some elite group
Well,
of.
you told me it was average.
What's that?
You asked if we were average. I said she told me it was average.
It's going to be a long show already. But anyway, so without further ado or whatever other intro segue I could come up with, let's go into the first headline. We're going to have to get through this first episode. You know that, right? All right.
Yeah.
First headline: White House only pushed Trans Day messaging on English accounts. That's fair game for the whole subject. Obviously, this headline only pertains to one portion of it. But
I feel like there is so much PC police to unpack here. Okay, for starters, in 2024, why are we still calling it the White House? Okay, there was a black guy in there for 2 terms. Okay, let's reconsider the name of the property. Okay,
that's irrelevant to the headline, but I got you.
okay, they're pushing trans. I believe I saw that channel on Pornhub, and it's not something that the White House should be promoting. Okay.
All right. All right. So let me give you the perspective that's actually in the media. Do you know that I guess it was in 2014 they named this day like not awareness, trans like visibility day or something weird, something
Does that
stupid.
mean they get to run around with no pants?
I guess not invisibility, visibility. It means we see them. Well, maybe you're
With
right.
no
Yeah,
pants.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
I
you're
mean,
right.
like,
Um,
oh, you want to see what I did? Look, my
yeah,
alley's an
yeah,
innie now.
yeah. So the problem is this year it happened to fall on Easter. So the White House and the people in it right now they don't want to recognize Easter. They want to push that certain agenda to push it. So that's why people are all up in a roar because it's on Easter and you're giving a speech in recognition about transgender people.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, if it's the same day every year, then that's not anybody. I mean, okay, let's just go ahead and be honest. Okay, it's Easter's fault. Okay, Easter needs to just pick a day and stick to it. Okay, because Easter was what, the 30th, 31st, right, of March. Like, my birthday's in the middle of April. It's been on my birthday several times. It's in March half the time. It's like, seriously, Easter, just pick a day. It's your fault. It's your
You
fault,
know,
Easter.
oddly, I might have to agree with you there because I was trying to figure it out because didn't he rise on a certain day and then like 3 days before that was when, like, did we not know that day? Did that? I mean, I don't know. At the
No,
end of the day,
I
I'm
mean,
totally ignorant about it. Huh?
your average uh, historian, you know, firmly believes that, if you go back and look at, the time of the census when they went back to Bethlehem and blah 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 blah, Jesus wasn't born in December. He was more than likely born in June. But
Yeah,
I mean,
we're not celebrating his birthday though. We're celebrating when he rose from the dead,
well, yeah,
which
but I'm
was on
just
the
saying that
Sabbath, right?
that there's no consistency with any of the other historical holidays. Why should Easter be any different? Just pick a day and make it that day.
Right, right. I think they're trying to keep it on a Sunday though. That's the problem because
Well,
he
yeah,
rose
yeah,
on
I
the
get that.
Sabbath. That so
Yeah,
yeah, that's
okay,
kind of
that's cool.
unfair. But on
But
the
just
flip
make
side
it
too,
like
what's that?
a particular Sunday. Like, okay, it's the first Sunday in April. Like, I mean, you
Isn't
know,
it that what it is?
no, it was in March this year.
Oh, it was the last Sunday.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
like
how it works.
the I think it's like the 12th Sunday of the year or some ridiculously weird crap like that. I
It's
can't
weird. I
can't
don't know
remember
that.
exactly how it's determined. Yeah, I feel like I should know that.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm a
But
terrible
you're
Christian.
my right wing friend, so you should be like all about this.
Yeah, right. And I'm
Telling me
supposed to
about
be
the
a
Jesus
Christian dude
stuff.
too, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I get it. Okay, so I screwed up that. We'll figure it out. But either way, it's about Jesus, not about trans. And I am. And on the flip side of this, though,
but
dude, I know
it's
you're.
it's a completely coincidental collision, though. Like, I mean,
Yes,
people are getting up in arms
but I
about
don't
it,
think the
but like,
president should go on and do something about trans and not mention Easter.
in a country where we have separation of church and state.
Yes, in a country founded by
Okay,
God and Christianity. Yes, that thing.
no. I
What?
mean, it was
No.
founded by Christian people
Yes,
who
yes.
put a separation of church and state into the government because
Right,
they've seen the dangers of,
right. Which means they don't want the
hey,
church running the government or the government running the church. Not that you can't mention something about either or.
yeah, I agree.
So it's not about
But I
them.
mean, I'm just
Doing
I'm
it.
just saying, like I
It's
don't feel like
it's-
either one is any more or less important than the other. I
okay.
mean, if I had
Okay.
my Audi turned into an innie, as much as I love my Audi, I would feel like I deserve my holiday for that.
Well, you can get on the calendar because I think now the whole trans calendar is like 3/4 of the year now. There's something on every day for like 3/4 of the year, something crazy like that.
Yeah, don't you
It's
get like
like
extra days if you play sports
yeah, it's like
as
best
a
friend of
trans
two
person?
trannies day. It's like
Oh.
grandma of a tranny great grandson day. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous.
See, I
Um,
remember I love how the vernacular changes though, because I remember like, in the infancy of the internet, like all those videos were just called chicks with dicks.
right, right. I used to have a saying, and you know what's sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's not sick. It's actually to be celebrated and actually put above Jesus. But we're going to move
Hmm.
on because that face right there says enough. All right. New York City hands out prepaid debit cards because illegals threw away charity food.
Uh, I mean, was it store brand canned vegetables?
I
Because
don't
I
think it
mean,
matters. It's probably
illegal
better
or
than
not, I mean, we
school
really can't
lunch.
expect anybody to eat that shit.
The
Like
kids eat free
veggie. Have
school
you ever
lunch,
eaten
dude.
veggie?
No.
Ugh.
But it's free, right? It's free, right?
Yeah, but still, this is America, motherfucker. We have standards here, okay?
Yeah. I see, right? Like
What's the point in leaving Guatemala
borders
if you're going to come
and
up here and be forced to eat veggie? I mean,
right, right. Why would you come then, right? Great.
exactly.
Let's
I
spread
mean,
that. There you go.
you're
Spread that.
forgetting what makes America great.
In all seriousness, too, though, like the whole illegal thing, I get it. We can have a whole conversation on that. But if we were not sending money to these countries, I can understand supporting them. But we're still
Yeah.
sending money to
But,
these countries to support
look,
these
man.
people that are here.
Yeah. And I'm like, I completely agree with that sentiment, because it's like, we spend hundreds of
It,
billions of dollars a
yes,
year in this country sending, aid, whatever the fuck that means, to
right,
all these governments who wouldn't even give us the time of day in a UN resolution, right?
right.
Like, I mean, if you go back and check the statistics on that, the amount of, positive favor that we've bought in US resolutions with all the foreign aid money that we give out, like, I mean, you could buy 100,000 Audi to any surgeries with that money.
Right. And think about all the disasters and things we had. How many people were lined up sending money and sending aid over here?
Oh
Not a
yeah,
one of them,
yeah. I
right?
mean, I don't know this number, but I'm curious now. I'm going to have to go look it up when we're done with this episode. But
No,
like,
you're an average
I'm
veteran, dude. You can just tell us what it is.
I'm $4.13. No, like I'm curious because there's all these great collections. The what was it, the earthquake in Haiti or whatever. I think
Hmm.
that was pretty recent. Or the nuclear disaster in Japan. That's a first world country. Like, how much money did we collect over here in the United States to send over there to those folks? I'm curious, how much money was raised internationally and sent to the U.S. for, say, I don't know, Katrina victims?
How about Hawaii? Hawaii was
Yeah,
the most recent. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't think it was the devastation in Hawaii. I don't think was on par with what
those
Louisiana went through
the
with
fires that burned all the
Katrina.
poor
But
people's houses and not the rich people's houses. You don't think that was enough?
I just meant, like, if you're looking at it from
Right, right.
a
A
total
mass.
dollars
Right.
perspective, right? Like, because it was in like the trillions of dollars, I think, by the time they quit adding things up, and there's still stuff down there in New Orleans
I
from
do think that
Katrina, and that shit's almost 20 years ago.
I do think that there were countries that sent funding for the Summer of Love, but it wasn't for repairs. It was for participation. They were sending all the money to the Antifa guys that were tearing and burning down cities and stuff. I think they did get money from the outside.
Well, I'm if it's activities that would undermine the authority of the U.S. way of life, then sure, I would absolutely send money for that too.
Yeah. Well, if
Um,
you had the prepaid debit cards, you'd probably give them out too, right? But whose money is that they're giving out?
I mean, it's not mine. I don't have any.
Right, of course.
Oh wait, I don't have any because the government takes it all. God damn it.
But this, I
Um,
mean, like, this is the problem with it. Like, you look at this, the prepaid debit cards, you know what I mean? You say at the end of the day, okay, well, that's taxpayer money. You say, oh, it's New York taxpayer money. But the problem is the same corruption happens on that level. That's how New York and California get over on the system. They keep asking for more money from the federal government,
mhm.
and the cronies give it to them. So we act like, well, that's not our money they're spending, but it is our money they're spending because they get our money for something else. We've tried to explain this before. I think with the Iran deal, when we gave that billions or millions to Iran, well, if
Billions.
Iran's
Yeah,
not, what's that?
it was bees.
Yeah, so when Iran says, oh, we're not using this for weapons, it means they're using their food money for weapons and then they're using this money for their food. So it's not much different. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think people understand that. Either way, it's still supporting it.
Well, it's like, it's funny that you bring that up because we make that exact same argument here, right? So, like, if you have a father who's dealing with child support issues, he'll say, well, my kid's running around in, you know, pants that are 3 inches too short while she's got, her hair done and nails done,
Yep.
like the money I give should only be, used for the children. They say, no, no, no. The money that goes to her, it's hers to spend how she sees fit.
Hmm.
So,
Right,
I
but I
mean
mean,
that,
what's
yeah.
the
I mean
flip side of that though? What is the flip side of that? Government control? Like, do you literally say, hey, here's your card, like the EBT cards, whatever it is, you can only buy these items, these items, these items? I mean, make them sell it to somebody else for money? Like, is that what you do?
no. I mean, there's no good answer to it.
Just don't get married, right? Or have kids if you ain't gonna raise them.
Get a vasectomy.
Yeah, don't do all that. Anyways, yeah, I'm sorry, my cat and my dog are going a little crazy in the background here. It's distracting. But she won't leave the cat alone. The dog chasing the cat. You know how the whole trope thing goes. Anyways, let's move to the next one because we are going to get way sidetracked. Data broker tracks 200 mobile devices to Epstein Island. I see your eye twitching. Why?
What is a data broker?
Those are the people who gather all the information. They pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you can pay for information from like AT&T. Like you can do it. There's people who've done it. You go buy a clump of data from AT&T. So these are brokers that buy the data and then they sell it to people so that it's
And
just like
that's
a real estate
legal.
broker. Huh?
And that's legal.
Yeah, why not? You're willfully giving up your information or it's public record.
How is
AT,
my phone information public record?
AT&T owns the towers, dude. You don't have to use their towers. You want a cell phone? You're
I
gonna
mean,
have to
I
use their
don't.
towers,
I have Verizon.
and they
Fuck
all use
AT
the
and
same
T.
towers, man. They all use the same
I mean, I
towers.
still say fuck AT&T 8 days a week.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not
But
mad.
I mean,
I don't like any of
I
them.
don't prefer Verizon, but I mean, just fuck AT&T extra
Yeah.
because every platform I can use to disparage certain companies, I will, like
Oh yeah.
AT&T and the Dallas Cowboys, and
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I like this. I'm all on board right here. You know what I mean? I don't, there's not much I could do about it, right? Because
yeah.
they have a monopoly almost. Well, it doesn't look like a monopoly, but they all know each other, so it's really a monopoly.
Well, so AT&T literally did have a monopoly in the United States back in the 70s. They got
Hmm.
busted up by the Supreme Court for that.
Right.
Like
Like they're
all of
trying to do
your
right now to Apple, right?
um, I don't know. I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
that one,
they're
but
trying to break up Apple.
well, good. They should, because fuck them too. They're higher on my fuck you list than AT&T
I
is.
agree. I agree.
Um,
Man, I like this. This is great, man. Look, this show's getting too easy, but we ain't talking about Epstein Island right now.
well, I mean, look, we all know who's been there. I mean, what the
Well,
fuck
do we?
is some? I mean, we all. I mean, it's just like it's an Al Capone sort of thing. We all know what he's doing, but you can't prove it.
Right.
Right. So, until you bust one of these motherfuckers for tax evasion, nobody's going to give a shit that they're humping little kids at some island.
Right. It's too many layers of corruption behind too many layers of protection
Yeah.
and too many people involved that don't want to prosecute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
their buddies that were there or them
Right.
themselves.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
I can't snitch on Jimmy or he'll fucking take me down with him.
Right. Exactly. And well, that's how all the politicians work all together. Once you get in the system, they give you something sweet that they know is illegal, and then they got you hooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But this is interesting though, because this is something I didn't even think about, that someone easily could get that data and bam, cross-reference it with phone numbers, owners, and you got a list that you don't need. You don't need the Ghislaine or Ghislaine, whatever her name is, to come and tell you about. You know what I mean? You can't prove anything by having their number other than that the phone was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't even prove they were there with the phone.
You
It'd
can't
be
even prove
kind of
this is
odd.
my phone that I got right now. Right.
Right.
Because I mean, let's be honest. Okay. If you got that kind of scratch, how many cell phones do you have? You have at least two, right? One for your wife, one for your girlfriend.
Sure. Sure. You could say you left it on his plane and it flew there. I don't know. You can make up a
Yeah.
bunch of lies. But at the end of the day, it's still nice to know, because once you get the list of names, you got some pressure.
But it doesn't matter. We all know the names.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. Well,
this changes nothing.
It doesn't matter till the people get mad. That's when it's going to matter. When the people actually get mad, it will matter. But the powers that be aren't. It's not going to matter.
I mean, how long ago did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? Right. I mean, how long ago was that?
I don't think that ever happened, did it?
But I mean, that's my whole point. It's like,
when was it? How long ago was it reported that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, to this day, you can't go on social media without seeing at least one Epstein didn't kill himself meme or reference or whatever. Like, I mean, they're still out there. Like, the people still know, the people are still angry, but nothing is going to change.
Right, but why do you think that is? Because you think it's because the silent majority just doesn't give a damn? It doesn't affect them? It's not in their backyard, like we always say? Like, if it was your daughter over there getting abused or something like that, you would give a damn. But you don't give a damn that somebody else's daughter's over there.
I give a damn now, but tell me
right,
what I'm going to do.
I'm not saying
about
you
it.
specifically, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like that, I guess that's the problem with all this stuff. What do you do about it? You create a talk show and talk about it?
Yeah, but I mean, we've been fed this lie about this freedom that we have in this country that doesn't really fucking exist.
Agree.
And it hasn't for a very long time.
No, as long as we get our piece of pie, our stimulus check, we're quiet.
Yeah. They give you just enough kibble that you don't have to travel far enough to realize that the chain is still attached.
Right. Yep. I agree.
And and until enough people venture past the nibble of kibble to realize that the chain is there, nothing's gonna fucking change.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because when you think about it, like I think about like the upcoming civil war, quote unquote, not that it's going to be, whatever, but at some point, I don't know how you feel about this, but 2024 election is going to get ugly no matter what. No
Oh
matter who
yeah.
wins, I think it's going to get ugly. And I think at some point there're going to have to be some sort of, I don't want to say freedom fighting, but there's going to have to be something. I just don't imagine that, like for example, remember the squatters in New York, that whole story. Did you ever see that one where squatters came in and then out of nowhere these vigilantes showed up and
Mm-hmm.
took these people out of the house? Like to me, they're heroes, but they're vigilantes, so I don't endorse that. Um, but at some point,
I
there's
do.
going to be total chaos, and there's going to be no rules, and vigilantes are going to have to do things. Who are those people going to be?
Well, I mean, and that's the whole point, right? Because if the system had worked the way it's supposed to, those people shouldn't have had to do that.
Right,
I mean, I personally had a friend of mine who owned a piece of property out in a rural area here locally where I live, and he had people living in his property for several months. Um, and it was an act of Congress to get these people
right.
removed from the property, and it's just like, why? I
Yeah,
mean, I live in a state that has some of the most liberal, pardon, no pun intended, but we have some of the most liberal stand your ground laws in the country down here in the great state of South Carolina. Okay.
right.
Like,
That's why you got liberal blood in you, right? I got it. Go on.
no, I mean that, like, I mean, like, there's not a whole lot that you can't shoot people for in the state of South Carolina if they're on your property.
Right.
If they're on your property and you ask them to leave, it's pretty much open season if they don't.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that.
so yeah, I mean, I
It's your
mean,
property.
yeah. Um, and it's like, I, I, it shouldn't have had to have come to that. If the people who, I mean, what does the side of every cop car say? To serve and protect, right?
Right.
You're not protecting me. You're not protecting my property. You're not serving me in any way, shape, or form. So if
Sure.
you won't do your job, get the fuck out of the way and let me do it for you.
Right, but and I don't agree, I don't disagree with that. Like before, I would have like, look, I used to be totally pro cop. I told you I was a cop, so I get it, and I know there's some dirtbags and scumbags that ruin it for everybody. But I used to be totally pro cop. But just like the military, remember when Clinton did that to the army? All the backbone got out, and then we got left with the dirtbags, the lifers, and the kids who didn't want to even go to war. So that's happening to the law enforcement agencies right
Yep.
now, whether it was the COVID vaccine or whatever, they're kicking out all the people that can make it in the real world, and the dirtbags are hanging around and they're hiring all the liberal tards. I hate making fun of them, but that's what they are, and they're just foot soldiers for all these idiots. Because I can't imagine how you can consciously show up at a property knowing that this lady has a deed. They can't even prove they're there. Even if it's the law, I mean, I would really be hesitant to do anything about it. I'd be like, okay, we'll take a note, and walk back. But they came and arrested the lady. Like, I don't know if my job would be worth it. I don't know if I'd want to work for a department that just violates the Constitution and just everything their oath. I don't know if I want to work for a company like that.
I mean, I've had, I, you know, I have that opinion a lot of times when I look at a lot of the fucked up shit that goes on in this country. I look at it, and the level of corruption and the underhanded shit and just the greed and the general just disregard for human beings in general. And I'm like, why the fuck did I ever agree to die for this shit? There's nothing fucking here that is worth me.
Well, look, I don't want to get all sappy or
Oh yeah, I
anything on you.
took this into the weeds. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was saying we could definitely get deeper than this. Obviously, people need Jesus because it's human nature to be selfish and whatnot. But go find Jesus. We'll go to the next headline because it is the last one for our episode here. Florida top court lets abortion rights ballot measure go to voters.
As it should.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Like I personally, I'm anti-abortion. I don't. I'm anti, death penalty too. I don't think we have the say of who we should kill. But I also understand it. Look, if these people want to be heathens and killers, let them live in one area. Let them decide. You know, I don't think I will sit quietly and watch it. But in the end, I mean, let the people decide. Let them out themselves. I know you're
Um,
for it because you probably have too many kids already.
no, that's why I don't. That's why
Oh,
I
oh,
have too many kids. But you know, I took the bullets out of the gun, so I don't have to worry about this shit.
good thinking, good thinking.
But I mean, I feel like I think we've talked about this maybe offline before, okay? But like here's my biggest thing with the abortion argument, right? Is um I don't like the hypocrisy around the abortion argument, right? Because the whole pro-abortion, ladies, my body, my choice thing, blah 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 blah. Okay, but you know what? I would completely agree with that. If you were asexual and you made that person all by yourself and you want to murder them, fine, go, do it,
Right. Couldn't
right?
stop them anyway, right?
Yeah,
Still can't really
exactly.
stop them.
Well, yeah, no, you really can't. But like, here's the thing, though, right? So um, when a woman gets pregnant and a man says, no, 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 I'm not ready to be a father. I don't want to do this, blah, 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 blah. And she says, well, it's my child's life and I want to keep it and whatever, whatever. Doesn't matter. That guy's on the hook for 18 years minimum
Yeah.
paying for that child, even if he didn't want it.
Right.
But if she says, no, I'm not ready to be a mother, blah, 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 I'm going to go get an abortion. He says, no, this thing is a gift from God. You don't have to be involved if you don't want to. I'll raise it by myself, yada, yada, yada. So it doesn't make a fuck. She goes, she kills it. He's fucked, you know,
Right.
and, and that's perfectly acceptable. But instead, the biggest thing we want to bitch about is a wage gap. Fuck you and your wage gap.
Right. Right. And then to carry that over too, these are the same whiny liberal women, not all of them obviously, but that say, oh yeah, you need to put a vaccine in because of the greater good of mankind. Right. Well, your greater good of you should become this important as the greater good of mankind. So the greater good of mankind is we're not having enough children, so you need to have that baby. So if that's your logic, then you need to stop having abortions to repopulate the earth because we are decreasing our population unless you believe that they should be, which there are weirdos out there too. But anyways,
I mean,
I'll give you the last word
Ebenezer
because we got to get on.
Scrooge, decrease the surplus population.
All right. Well, whatever, dude. That is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for joining me. Thank you all for tuning in. Johnny, Christine, we haven't forgot about you. Christine, I'm still waiting for my foil hat or my Faraday hat. You missed those comments. She says we all need to be wearing Faraday hats, not foil hats. But we'll look into
Yes,
that.
because that's what blocks the signals. Yes, she's a
Yes,
smart lady.
yes. She's 100% correct. Right. So that is all the time we have for this episode. And until next time, Godspeed. Thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin Already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.